What's up? Hey guys. So Tony Robbins says that your decisions, with every decision you make, your destiny is shaped. And I want you to think about what decisions are you making daily that are propelling you forward or keeping you stuck. It's a powerful statement. Our destiny is shaped by every decision that we make daily. And before I get into this topic, for those who are interested, we are just a few days away from closing doors on the Top Bonus Challenge that you can join at toplevelbonus.com. And when I think about this, by the way, so I'm wearing this 10X hat, for those of you who know Grant Cardone and the 10X movement. And ironically, this wasn't the direction I was going to take this live in, but this guy walks by and he goes, "Uncle G?" I was like, huh? I forgot for a moment what he was talking about. Excuse me, I'm sick, sorry, still recovering. And I said, "Oh yeah, Uncle G, yeah, the hat. And he said, "Did you meet him?" And I said, "I did." He said, "Did you go to the Growth Con?" And I said, "I did, not this year, but the year before." And he was asking me about him. And that was a decision that I made, speaking of decisions, to invest at a significant level to be backstage with A-listers. That seems to be the theme of the week. How do we be an A-lister? We've got to hang with A-listers, right? And you've got to be playing where the A-listers play. So when it comes to decisions, every single thing you do in life is a decision. And our decisions are based out of one of two things: fear or faith. And that's it. And I want you to think of, I'm going to bring this around full circle to Uncle G, Grant Cardone, and why that comment about the hat is bringing up another piece of introspection I want to give you that's drastically shifted my life. And it's something that Uncle G said at 10X Growth Con when I was in the audience in Vegas. And he said, every decision you make is one of expansion or contraction. One of expansion or contraction. And I was like, what? Like, what? And it really made me think about every single decision that I make. By the way, if you're watching it live, can you just go ahead and type #live? If you're watching the replay, write #replay, because that sends Facebook a signal like, oh, people actually like this, and we get it into more hands. So thank you for that. And that was so huge for me, that every single decision I make in my life, whether I choose to say yes or I choose to say no, whether I choose to pick up the phone, choose to put it down, whether I choose to I don't feel like doing a Facebook Live right now. I don't. But I know that we have a challenge coming up, and if I don't do a live, the challenge isn't going to fill itself, right? And if you don't ask the question to your tours that you're thinking in your mind, guess what's going to happen? Guess what's going to happen? If you don't ask the question that's in your mind, you are going to make a decision, or you're making a decision to stay in fear. That's a powerful decision. And that's where most reps stay, is in that place of, I'm really uncomfortable right now. I know there's something I need to know that's stopping, from where they are right now to the yes that's on the other side somewhere. I feel like it's out there, but they don't know how to bridge that gap. And you can only bridge the gap, hi hummingbird, if you ask the question that's in your mind. That's the only thing that's going to get you closer to that yes. Because you're assuming, by the way, if you know somebody who needs to hear this, tag them below or share this out. That'd be awesome. You're assuming that it's already a deal when it's not. It's not a deal. You got to ask the question. Right? How many of us have assumed, drop a 1 below, if you've assumed that you had a deal and you didn't ask the tough question, all of a sudden you're like, dang, dang, what happened? There's no deal. It's because you didn't ask the question. Because you assumed that it was a yes, and it was not a yes. It's never a yes until it's a yes, right? So we can't own the deal until we do the work to get the deal. And congrats, Susie, for accepting the selling manager position today. That is definitely a decision of expansion. I love it. And I want you guys to keep this in mind. Like, you can look at it two ways, right? Is this decision out of fear or faith? Fear or faith? That's it. How many decisions do you make in your life, or we in general, out of fear? Fear of the unknown, right? Sorry guys, I'm getting over a cold. You got to deal with me. Queen of my nose. Either that or we got some runny nose and that ain't cool. So, it's like the fear is what holds us back. We think we're making the right decision by not making a decision. But the reality is you're making a decision by not making a decision. You're making a decision to stay playing small. And that decision is much more painful in the long run than one of saying yes and stumbling forward and picking it up and being like, okay, now that was great feedback. Now how do I move on from here? How do I move on from here? And so if in every moment that you say, like literally think of everything that you do in a day, whether you decide to set your alarm clock early and listen to your alarm clock and actually get up, that's a decision. Is that one of expansion or contraction? Well, it depends which way you go, right? If you decide to go to the gym because it's something you decided to do, is that one of expansion? Well, if you went, yeah. If you don't, that's not. That's contraction. And if you go to work early and have time to clear your head, get your head on right, get your head straight, then that's a decision of expansion. If you decide to stumble in work at the last second, hoping to not get dropped to the bottom of the board, that's a decision of contraction. And if we were to total up our numbers of decisions, and all the decisions that you make in a day, how many of those are actually acting out of expansion versus contraction? And I guarantee you that a lot of people's decisions are out of contraction, out of fear. And if you want to get to the top, you got to do what the 99% aren't willing to do, right? And the 99% aren't willing to act in faith. They want to play where it's safe. They want to play small, not intentionally. Nobody wants to play small intentionally. Come on, Bear, this way. They don't want to play small intentionally. What they want to do is they want to get the results of the 1%, but they're not willing to do the work, and the work is uncomfortable. The work is the part that, this reminds me of when you're walking through the woods. What was that game called? Anybody remember that game? I want to call it Pokemon, but was that it? Where you were like, people were walking through the woods like zombies and stuff. Like I'm walking across a busy street on a Facebook Live. Who does that? And so what decisions are you making daily? And one of the things that I try to do, by the way, is every day I remember Uncle G, by the way, he'd always say, you just say yes. Like anything. He said, you want to know how I got to where I'm at? I just said yes to everything all the time. I was like, dang, that's a lot of yeses. And there's some real truth to that. When you say yes, you lean into the fear, right? You lean into it. You're like, dang it sucks. It's uncomfortable. I don't want to do it, but I'm gonna try. And you ask the dang question that's been on your mind, and you shove the credit at them in a nice way with a smile and say, fill this out. That's a decision to do that or to not. That's a decision to act in faith or to act in fear, out of fear. It's a decision to ask them to buy. It's a decision to not ask them to buy more than once. Those are all decisions that you're making every single day. Who gets what I'm saying? Are you guys here? Or am I talking to myself? Sometimes I feel like I talk to myself a lot. on these things because y'all are so quiet. So quiet. But those are all decisions, right? Those are decisions that we make. And you have a choice every single day, every single wave, throughout the day. Am I acting out of faith or am I acting out of fear? Am I acting out of expansion or am I acting out of contraction? And if you can realize when you're acting out of contraction and you can say, okay, so what would the 1%er do? What would so-and-so do? Have a person that you model if you need to, right? Have that person who you look at. If they're at your sales site, then that's great. If they're in the industry, then that's great. If they don't exist, then you know that they're somewhere, right? It's a reason why I say get in the circle of where the 1%ers play. Do what you got to do to be in that environment that keeps you growing, that keeps you expanding, that keeps you getting to the next level. Because too many times our environments keep us contracting and playing small. Too often our sales centers are acting out of fear when the deals aren't going down. Too often people are acting out of fear when they're not at the top of the board, when they're not selling and other people are. And you have a choice to let that's a decision to let that impact you, or you have a choice, a decision to let it not. And if you choose not to, then what are you going to do differently that everybody else isn't doing to get different results, right? So I was just talking to a gal today on the phone, super sweet lady, but she said, well, everybody else is, they're all lacking confidence. And I said, what does that have to do with you? I'm like, what does that have to do with you? She says, well, you're right. And I'm like, does that mean that until they gain confidence, you're going to have confidence? And she said, oh, that makes sense. Yeah, that doesn't make sense at all. I was like, exactly. So when we're waiting for everybody else to do the thing that we want them to do so we can show up, we're going to be waiting a long time. Because if 99% of the people are getting subpar, mediocre results, are not achieving greatness, are not achieving excellence, are not achieving magnificence, whatever 1%er status, results, outcomes, daily, weekly, monthly, then we're going to be like everybody else. And there's a thing that happens when you're in an environment that's underperforming, really. And I'm not saying your environments are underperforming, but if you look overall at an environment, a sales environment, there's going to be a small percentage of people who are performing really well, and there's going to be a lot more people who are not performing well. So the masses are weighing on one side, right? And if you notice, the A-listers, the 1%ers, they stick to themselves. They don't hang with everybody else. And they might even just hang with themselves. Jonathan Garcia, who did an interview with us in the Top Bonus Challenge a couple months ago, we bring in a new talent every single month. By the way, if you guys have somebody who you really respect, they don't pitch heat, they're just like integrous, but they're incredible at sales. Incredible. They've been in the industry a long time. Send them my way. We'd love to interview them. I'm looking for 15 of the industry's best talents. And we bring them into the Top Bonus Challenge, give you guys a 90-minute plus, exclusive interview behind the scenes. We break down everything that's going on in their mind, sometimes their pitch, what they say it, how they do it. We had an incredible rock star last month, Sarah Chinlu out of Wyndham. Made Rookie of the Year and #1 sales rep her first year in the business at Wyndham. Rookie of the Year and #1 sales rep in the entire company of Wyndham her first year in the business. Now that was 12 years ago, but she's also done it repeated times and won every record. You can think about every award. We brought her in last time. And yeah, so we're going to have some great talent in there. If you want to join us at toplevelbonus.com and really up-level the circle and the mindset that you surround yourself with by simply being there, and create that bubble around you that may not exist in your current sales environment. Because I know a lot of you feel like it's really negative here, it's really negative. And that may be the case, but guess whose job is to fix it? It's not If you leave it up to your manager, if you leave it up to your director, if you leave it up to your coworkers, that shit ain't getting fixed. It's not. And it might temporarily. Who knows what I'm saying? Right? Drop a 1 if you get what I'm saying. Like, it's not going to just get fixed like that. Right? So it's your job to fix it. It's your job to get your head right. It's your job to put yourself in an environment of growth and expansion. It's your job to get uncomfortable and ask the questions of discomfort. It's your job to seek help, to seek something to get your head right, right? Because if what you're doing isn't working, and I don't care if you're a top rep, I've had many top reps, legends reach out to me recently. Like, I don't know what's going on. I can't sell. I'm like, it's just your head, but let's get it right. Let's get it right. Let's get you in the challenge. And they're joining, which is awesome. So, excuse me, guys. It happens to all of us, right? And I talked about in today's episode of the 1% Life, it was episode 82, if you listen to this later, about a massive identity shift that I'm going through personally right now. Man, I get really raw, really vulnerable. Y'all will find some stuff out about Joni Dillon that you didn't know. And, you know, it's part of my process of transformation is to really share that. I felt compelled and called to really come forward and say, hey, here's what's going on. And how I found the help, and I'm working with the world's leading subconscious reprogrammer to help me shift what's going on inside this head that I cannot see, but I know exists at the subconscious level that's causing propelling and then contraction, propelling, contraction. And I talk about some huge identity shifts that I had experienced recently where I literally am shedding my identity of the past. And some of you might be able to relate to that. So feel free to check that out as well. It might help you at the 1% Life. There's a link on this page somewhere. Timeshare Sales Mastery. It's the podcast called The 1% Life. If you've listened to it, let me know, by the way. I always like to know who's listening and what you like about it. But yeah, so hopefully you enjoyed this, rock stars. If you know how I know if you did, you comment, you tag people in it, and that's when I continue to go live for you. Because it's nice to know somebody's listening and taking some coaching. Or at least listening. All right, rock stars, you guys are amazing. If you want to join us in the 10 Days to Top Bonus Challenge and join all the other people who are achieving incredible results, I'm always amazed at all the people. I'm like, where you been hiding? You didn't tell us that you hit top bonus. Like, you haven't said anything. You've been in the challenge 2-3 months. We had a rock star who came out and spent the evening with me out in Vegas last week. And she's like, oh yeah, I hit top bonus. I'm like, during the challenge? She said, yeah. I said, when was the last time you did that? Never before. I'm like, Sherry, are you serious right now? How much did you make? She said, $35,000. I said, what was your last biggest month? $20K. Like months and months and months ago. I'm like, and you don't even tell other people, like, you are not helping people. Like, people want to hear this stuff, right? They want to hear, oh, you did it, I can do it too. So anyways, I was giving her shit. But that's what happens in there. And then there was another gal who showed up at the Vegas thing. She's like, oh yeah, I had my biggest month in 5 months during the challenge. I was like, Dina, that's crazy. You never said anything. You guys are funny. Timeshare's funny. You guys keep to yourself. You don't want to tell anybody what you're doing. I love it though. All right, rock stars, I'm gonna take this dog for a walk and rest up. For those of you who'll be in the challenge, we'll see you in there. Bye everyone. Toplevelbonus.com. We start in a couple days. Peace.